Dog, I wasn't gonna start off with a crazy story like this, but as soon as I got ready to hit, it was as soon as I hit the live button, I just see a horrible story. Yo, what's going on though? This is Tell the Truth once again. I got some bad news that I just got a notification of. Ryan Mallett, former NFL quarterback, played for the Texans. I want to say he played for the Patriots. He played for the Patriots, played for the Texans, I want to say. He passed away yesterday afternoon. Ryan Mallett, I don't think was much older than me. Well, never mind. The dude was 35. Not even 30 yet. Jeez. I was all the way wrong. But I want to say he was drafted by the Patriots because they were looking at that time, we're looking for somebody to possibly replace Tom Brady, but we all know that that would never be the case. Um, I see a lot of Patriots. Yeah, he played for the Texans at one point. I want to say he played for a few other teams as like just a journeyman backup. The Ravens. I'm seeing. Uh, Played college at Arkansas. So let's go ahead and read into this whole situation of how that happened. Rest in peace to him though. While we do this, so we go ahead and pull it up so y'all can actually read along with me. This is wild. All right, so former Arkansas NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett died Tuesday afternoon in a drowning accident on a Florida beach. According to reports, Mallett was among a group of swimmers that struggled to make it back to the shore at a beach in Destin, Florida. First responders pulled the 35-year-old from the water and attempted to perform life-saving measures, but he was pronounced dead after being transferred to a nearby hospital. Mallett had a prolific career at Arkansas, totaling 7,493 yards and 62 touchdowns during his 2 seasons with the Razorbacks. He finished seventh in Heisman Trophy voting in 2010 and was drafted by the New England Patriots in the 2011 draft. See, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know he was that good. I know that they drafted him to be the possible replacement for Tom Brady, but in Mallett also played for the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. Before his death, Mallett was the head football coach and educator at Whitehall High School in Arkansas. Oh my gosh. That's really sucks because now a lot of kids, as a person that works in education, paraprofessional education myself, I know what it's like to develop these relationships with kids, and now for those children to lose someone that they probably had a great relationship with, that really sucks for them. So my prayers is with them as well. I didn't even know all of this. So here's just some information. A lot of the teams that he's played for, the Patriots, wrote, "I'm extremely saddened by Ryan's tragic passing. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and the many people whose lives he touched." This is from head coach Bill Belichick. The SEC tweeted, "We joined the Arkansas Razorbacks community in mourning the loss of former football student and athlete Ryan Mallett. The SEC sends condolences to his family, friends, teammates, and loved ones." And so, wow, this is wild to just start off the entire stream with. I did not know that this happened, but my prayers are definitely with the family, man. This really sucks. This is not how I wanted to start the stream. Oh my gosh. That absolutely sucks, man. Oh my gosh. Let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and play this clip because now I really want to see his highlights. Let's go full screen on that.
We'll find out. It's only the 10th penalty by Georgia this year. And they're going to throw Mallett. Oh, he's got a man wide open. He totally fooled the Georgia defense. Chris Gregg going to have a sandwich, going to walk in. Fake the inside run. Mallett swing on the wheel route. He's got Wingo wide open. Touchdown. What a play.
Man, this really sucks. Finished seventh place in Heisman Trophy voting, and a lot of that, man. That sucks. But let's go ahead and get to the things I actually wanted to talk about today. I want to start off with this whole situation with YNW Melly. I haven't really been doing a lot of keeping keep myself updated with the entire case. But I see that they're in the 9th day. They just wrapped up the 9th day of a hearing. This was 19 hours ago, where Cuff Boys, who has 2.11 million subscribers, actually, I should say, he has been doing a really good job of keeping up with the entire situation. I've seen some stuff where they were saying that they applied for a mistrial. They didn't let that happen. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in this story. So let's see what they're talking about with this. And I'll give my thoughts and whatnot on everything that we're seeing.
Got intense today. 2 medical examiners testify about the autopsies of the deceased victims, Sackchaser and Doovie. These details are pretty intense later on in this video, so prepare yourself. Hit subscribe right now. Thanks for supporting all these videos. Let's get right into it. First look at Melly today. Looks like he's praying.
While we're here, go ahead and if you're watching this, go ahead and subscribe to Cuff Boys. Like I said, he's been doing a really good job of detailing everything that's going on with this trial. So shout out to him. Want to go ahead and give him his creds while I watch.
So first thing today is Melly's lawyer is going to come up and cross-examine the undercover detective for a little bit.
Opinion in a case regarding the rapper Drake.
Oh boy, bringing up Drake.
Yeah.
All right, but what does Drake have to do with anything in this case? Is my first question that I want to ask here, because I don't get it. Already, what is going on with this prosecution?
And your opinion was that he was not a gang member.
Correct.
The reference to violence in songs by rappers is not unique to Melly, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean you're a gang, right?
No, anyone can commit an act of violence.
Okay, Ms. Bradley.
All right, so it looks like the gist of what's about to be said here is that regardless of the type of music that Melly makes, there is a possibility that Melly doesn't live the life that he raps about, which is very common, especially in the hip hop community. A lot of rappers that are out here rapping about doing this, that, and the third really don't be doing that. For those who do not know, Pusha T raps about Dylan Dope. Pusha T ain't Dylan Dope no more, if he had ever done it.
Asked whether or not you were familiar with a rapper named Kevin Gates.
Right.
And in that video, there were Kevin Gates lyrics being recited.
Believe so.
Just brainstorming in the game forming these thoughts and ideas, no regrets for the shit I did. That also mean for the N-words I killed, 4:30 a.m., never say when. I love how the judge always tells the jury to not remember some of these things, but then it's like natural to remember so many things they see.
Yes.
No regrets for the shit I did. It also means for the ends I killed. 4:30 a.m.
No regrets for the shit I did. That also means for the yeah. 4:30 a.m. Never say when.
Oh.
What? What's this about?
Oh, so that's the video the prosecution has been saying that Melly kind of confessed to the murders in, because he's talking about the murders at 4:30 in the morning or whatever. But Melly was probably just sending this video to Kevin Gates because it's Kevin Gates lyrics. That's what his attorney is reaching for right now.
It's identical, except for the gesture in place of the word kill.
Correct.
Okay.
So he's pushing that it's not a confession, it's just lyrics of another song.
That there are no responses to any of these messages, right?
Right.
Okay. 10-6 at 12:05. He reiterates. Me, you, him, and Jay Green. No response?
No.
When you free? No. To stay in tune is to communicate, bro. If you feel like it's too much, you can line up elsewhere, but you won't get the perks and respect you get now. Any response?
No.
Okay.
See, look at that.
Okay. While the state had you up here when you were interpreting messages, you seem to have a level of...
All this coming, big bro. Be patient. I'm fresh out I'm gonna have everything handled. I'm gonna have everything handled by round March. Handled round March 1. Ain't seeing my mama yet. I'm only one man. Okay. Interesting.
Certainty in all your assessments. Now you're a little bit equivocating. Just saying.
Melly's lawyer getting a little frustrated that he's being more vague with him than he was with the prosecution. Objection is sustained. Yo, bro, do you fuck with Quando Rondo? He disrespecting the hood.
When? And then Melly responds, nah, me and bruh fought. Well, I fought young boy.
We saw these messages yesterday, but his lawyer's trying to pick it apart a little bit and make this.
All right, so hold on. Let me try to see if I can figure out what's going on here. Because again, I should have been keeping up with this, and a lot of this may have been explained days prior. But what does any of this have to do with the alleged situation that we should be talking about right now, of whether Melly was the one that unalived his two friends? That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
This expert look bad.
I don't do no drugs, sir. What does he say right after that?
Bring some to my Crips.
His who's?
Crips.
Not his bloods? Okay. He's not even supposed to use a C there, right? Okay. And not only does he use a C, he refers to his buddies as his Crips. Did that happen? Yes or no?
He did.
Okay.
A risky text. Holy shit, why did Melly send that? I don't know how that works, but dude.
Oh, wow.
Did I? I tried to get him straight, now I messed it right back up.
Melly's lawyer whispered, I tried to get him straight, but I messed it up or something like that.
I know who the founder is, bud. I'm saying you ain't send it. Julius B. Sonny. See that?
See it?
He's saying the founder is Julius B. Sonny, right?
Correct. Okay, but you know Julius B. Sonny is not a person, right?
He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's saying the founder is somebody who's not even a person. Right? Okay.
So Melly's lawyer's trying to show that he didn't respond a lot and they were mad at him about communicating, and that he was oblivious to some of the blood lingo and to some of the blood history. He's trying to separate Melly from that gangster image as much as possible for the jury.
Some of the pictures are external and some are internal, and whether or not you need all.
All right, so here's my thing. What does him having that demeanor about him have anything to do, again, with the issue that we are trying to determine right now, is if he's innocent or guilty of the crimes that he's being accused of? So I don't see how any of this has anything to do with the case, but who knows?
Where photographs are relevant, the trial court must determine whether the gruesomeness of the portrayal is so inflammatory as to create an undue prejudice in the minds of the jury and distract them from a fair and impassioned consideration of evidence. Graphic photos are available to illustrate this for the admission of the gruesome photos. Judge, there's no question that the victims in this case died of gunshot wound. Primarily one gunshot wound was fatal on each one. She could determine which shot occurred first in both of the victims, and they were the fatal shot in both of the victims. Therefore, the introduction of all these other photographs are irrelevant, prejudicial, and we would object to them.
Thank you.
So both teams fighting to try to show these graphic photos of the deceased.
But this is the face of the decedent. That's how we identify him. Yeah, so these are the clean photographs of the hands.
How many photographs of the two hands are in the file?
So there's a front and back. So there's one front, one pole to show every piece of each hand to show that there's no injuries.
And there's no injuries on the hands.
That's correct.
We would object to it. It's duplicitous and it has no relevance.
Thank you. That objection is overruled. There's no blood, there's no gruesomeness or anything like that associated with the photographs, counsel. So the objection is overruled.
If you show just the close-up so I can talk about the characteristics of that wound, there's no way for me to show where it is on the body. I can say where it is, but I can't show it. So if you want an orientation shot so you can show where it is, and then a closer shot so I can explain the characteristics of the wound.
So this is a big deal because the prosecutor wants to show how gruesome these photos are to the jury, but the lawyers don't want to show that at all. They're like trying to avoid this at all costs because they don't want to scare the jury.
Okay. So it looks like they're going to use the prosecution wants to try to use that tactic to say, look how horrible this is, and this is why he should be guilty. Now, I wonder if this is going to help them prove, if there's going to be something in this video that helps them prove his guilt or not. But right now, it's not really doing much for me.
Allowing both of those photographs?
She's saying she needs to explain the testimony. Yes, that's the way I'm saying it.
I believe she said she could explain it on either one of the photographs.
I can explain that it's a laceration on each one in order for everyone involved to be able to see why it's a laceration.
Thank you. Objection notes overruled. Again, these photographs show an depict an injury externally. It's not an internal. I don't know that they're so gruesome as to inflame the jury.
The organs prove that there was no heartbeat when those shots were inflicted. If anybody is trying to say that one shot game was alive when that shot was shot, and the other two were after he passed away sometime later, the only way to show that with the photos is to show you that in the lung, in the heart, where the projectile from the shoulder was retrieved, that there's absolutely no hemorrhage around any of those organs or wounds.
So it looks like the judge is going to let majority of the photos in for the doctor to explain her testimony. So the medical examiner is finally going to testify here.
As an expert in the area of forensic pathology.
I have.
About how many times?
Over 100.
She's testified 100 times?
One of the cases, and our fellow Dr. Sauter took the other case.
So she did the autopsy on Sack Chaser.
Would those photographs help explain and illustrate to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the process and how that is undertaken?
Do it. These are photographs that are taken before we do anything to the body, before we move the body, before we clean the body. We take photographs so we can see it as is. And there are projectile fragments in the head. This is dental restorations, later becomes known as an entrance gunshot wound, a defect, a circular defect.
So we know that these two men were in the head, according to what is going on here. So I don't think anybody had any doubt about what happened there. Is the issue is now who did it. I'm not going to sleep.
To the middle of the chest. So this is what we call it's called a headshot. It's our identification shot. It's a picture of the decedent's face. No.
Oh my god, these pictures are probably so bad in the courtroom right now because these guys got shot in the head, and they're showing the picture of his face right now.
So this is the left hand. It's the palmar surface.
So yeah, basically.
So we'll take 3 photographs of each hand, at least 3.
This gunshot wound, the entrance wound is.
So it's in the middle of the chest. So that wound is 19 1/4 inches. Oh no, that's below the top of the head. There's a penetrating gunshot wound. Goes in, doesn't come out. Penetrates. I recover a projectile. Then there's a perforating gunshot wound. It perforates the body. I have an entrance and I have an exit, and I don't collect a projectile.
How many autopsies have you done in which gunshot wounds have been a cause of death?
Oh, probably 600 or 700.
What a
I could not. 600 to 700 bodies. Kudos to her.
up job, dude. Look at dead bodies all day. Different type of person right there. Well, this is a big point right here, the stippling of the skin, which
I need to go to therapy after every single day. Golly.
shows that the gun was within 3 feet of them.
And for gunshot wounds, we are tasked with trying to determine the range of fire.
I feel like going to funerals and that body has been gone. Like, that person's been gone for at least 4 to 5 days. And to be looking at bodies that ain't been a day gone. No.
There is what's called a contact gunshot wound,
No, sir.
which means that the muzzle of the gun is up against the target. With an intermediate gunshot wound, if you take your target and your gun and you move away from your target, okay, so you're far enough away now that you're not going to leave a nice ring of soot, you're going to get something that's called stipple. Okay, so the gunpowder coming out of the gun will tattoo the skin. You will get a nice pattern, a spray of stipple on the skin. Those are intermediate gunshot wounds. With indeterminate gunshot wounds, that either means that the muzzle of the gun is far enough away from the target that all the gunpowder falls off before the projectile hits the body. There's something in the way of the skin, between the skin and the weapon, that any evidence of close range firing would be on that clothing. Okay? If you have someone that's shot in the chest, you'd want to look for evidence of close range firing on what they're wearing. Best way to get the distance on a certain person would be to take the exact same gun with the exact same ammunition, a white sheet of paper, right? Until you get far enough away that the distance of your stipple pattern on your paper matches what it was on the skin.
If you don't have a pattern, can you do that recreation?
When Melly's team comes up and cross-examines this, it's going to be crazy.
So when you're looking at gunshot wounds, what that tells you is that the projectile is coming from that side of the body. Okay, so when a projectile hits a target skin straight on, you'll get what's called a...
And I'm still trying to figure out where does this come into proving Melly's guilt, but okay.
circumferential rim of abrasion, which means the rim of abrasion goes all the way around the circle. If it enters from the right side of the body at an angle, and then the right side of that circular gunshot wound is going to have a marginal abrasion. If it enters from the bottom, that abrasion is going to be along the bottom.
She's actually explaining that very well.
So on the top of his right shoulder is the third entrance gunshot wound. So this is a penetrating So that has an entrance wound, no exit. And so A is an entrance gunshot wound on the left side of the back of his neck. Position of that entrance wound is about right here.
And you said this was a what type of gunshot wound?
This is a perforating gunshot wound.
Dude, on the back of his neck, man.
And where was that exit?
And so for those who were probably just right here, that feels like one that would do you in right there.
The exit is on the right temporal scalp.
Okay. For the wounds A to E.
It is a fatal wound, yes.
What injuries are associated with the wound tract of A to E?
So that projectile goes through the scalp, the skull, the dura mater, the brain. There is subgaleal, subdural, and subarachnoid hemorrhage, and multiple fractures of the bones of the skull.
Okay. So blood of medical.
Your scalp, right, your head, the skin that's on your head, when you reflect it back, okay, the underside of that is called the galea. Okay, so if you have hemorrhage in the
Okay. So, wow.
underside of the skin on your head, that's a subgaleal hemorrhage. A cover on your brain that is called dura mater. Okay, so you have your brain, you have this dura mater, and then your skull. All right, so if I have subdural hemorrhage, sub means underneath, I have blood between the brain and the dura.
I try to say this as much as I can, but my condolences to the families. This is so gruesome.
Membrane.
I could not imagine having to sit through this. Then that family, man, that really, and I'm just sitting here, like, even for this lady here who actually had to sit here through all these, and then she just said 600 to 700 of these situations where she has to go and look at that. People that have this job, man, shout out to y'all, because y'all have something. I work in the education system. I'll take that over this any day of the week.
That covers the brain, and that is hemorrhage in that space. So there are different spaces within the cranial cavity where blood collects with injury. So hemorrhage means there's bleeding. If you ever had a bruise, that's hemorrhage underneath your skin. Those are the projectile fragments that were collected at the autopsy.
And are they in the same or substantially same condition as when they were collected?
They are.
So, Dr. McDougall, in terms of this particular entrance wound, how can you tell this is the entrance versus site E?
Because it has an abrasion margin, okay, abrasions are usually only associated with entrance wounds. So I called the range of fire on this case indeterminate, okay? There are, indeterminate does not mean distant. Indeterminate means I don't know. So, you could say that might be stipple, that little defect right there. That might be stipple, but that's right around the hair follicle.
Can you make any sort of medical opinion as to range of fire?
I will not, based on one or two, I call them ditzels, say that for sure is intermediate.
In terms of this particular injury, was the individual alive when it was inflicted?
Yes, what that tells me is that there is no circulation to that part of the body when that gunshot wound is inflicted.
Yeah, so the first gunshot wound to the back of the neck that went through his head, obviously he died instantly, and the rest, the other two, I believe after that, were not fatal.
And what this is showing you is this is hemorrhage.
So, golly. Yeah, I could see how that first one would just go straight through and be the final, and the other two just were unnecessary. What's going on? Looking at this court case for Melly.
Okay, this is blood. This is bleeding. There is a heartbeat.
There's no way his family's in that courtroom right now.
I
That would
could
be
be.
wild.
So he has marijuana, THC, and marijuana tablet.
And can you give any sort of time frame on the ingestion of those substances?
The cause of death is multiple gunshot wounds, and the manner of death is homicide. So when gunshot wound B was inflicted, yes, he was dead, and it exited deep, so it's one gunshot wound.
Correct. So when wound C was inflicted, was Anthony Williamson?
Yes.
I wonder how he feels seeing these pictures. These are people he grew up with, right? So if he actually didn't murder these guys, it's actually pretty. But if he did do it, kind of even more. Because he's like, wow, I did that to my friends. Like, this is disturbing. Like,
That is a really, really good point. Because, like you said, if he did this, then it makes it even more of a monster thing to do. But let's just go ahead and innocent until proven guilty. If this is a situation where he was falsely accused of doing this, and those are his friends, they have to sit through that. My prayers can be with him for that, dog. Lord have mercy. This is rough to sit there.
Like, what the is going through this guy's head?
As you can tell, the AC has changed its temperature. We've contacted them and supposedly going to come over.
The AC is down in the courtroom. You can't make this shit up. And Florida, too, is going to get steamy in there. So Melly's lawyer is up now cross-examining. I wonder the strategy they're going to have here.
He weighed 172 pounds.
Yes, sir.
And his hair was 6 inches in length.
Correct.
Braid.
Correct.
The pictures I saw did not show the braids on his hair. Did you cut his hair?
We shaved the hair around the wounds.
Okay. Did you save the hair so that it could be tested to determine if there was any GSR or gunshot residue on it?
We shaved the hair so we can see the characteristics of the wound.
And what did you do with the hair? Did you bag it so that it could be sent to the lab to be examined to determine if there was any GSR or any projectile fragments on it?
I did not.
He's trying to pick it apart a little bit, hinting at them not testing for GSR on the hair.
The clothes are a rather important factor in determining the range of whoever fired the gun that caused the death.
If the entrance wounds are around where there is clothing, they are important to determine range of fire. That's correct.
Okay. And you indicated that one of the wounds was in the chest area.
Correct.
Were you advised at any time that this person was wearing clothes?
Yes.
And Moretti didn't bring the clothes to you to look at? 6 inches of braided hair and the clothes that he was wearing would assist if anyone attempted to do what is known as a trajectory reconstruction, correct?
Or you could do a modified gray stain on the clothing to look for gunshot residue.
Okay. And those items would be important, would it not, if someone wanted to attempt to reconstruct how the shooting occurred?
So my job is cause and manner of death. I'm no expert in reconstruction. So in this case, that's the fatal injury because the other two, he was dead when they were.
Did not suffer any pain from those 2 injuries.
He's already dead.
And you indicated that these injuries were indeterminate.
Correct.
Which means, in layman terms, simple terms for me.
So let me try to put everything into perspective. So the prosecution is that's the defense. They're trying to say that the lady should have had taken the braids that were cut off to proceed with the autopsy to get it tested for GSR.
You understand means that you cannot tell how far away or how close the shooter or shooters were when this occurred.
Yes, sir.
In fact, you don't know if it was 1 shooter, 2 shooters, or more, correct?
It's not really her job. A good thing to point out that she's not sure exactly how many shooters there were, or how far they were exactly to the T.
The scientific way to determine the distance would be, and I think you said it today, take the same gun, correct?
Correct.
Take the same ammunition, correct?
Correct.
And then fire that gun with the same ammunition into a white paper or poster or whatever, wrapping paper, until you could get the same type of stippling pattern on the body, correct?
If you have an intermediate gunshot wound, yes, sir. All 3 of my gunshot wounds are indeterminate.
Okay. Determinate, which means you can't tell the number of shooters or the distance. Right?
Indeterminate means I don't know the range of fire.
This is a very interesting strategy that the defense is taking here.
From looking at the gunshot on the body.
Sack Chaser didn't have any stipling on his, back of his neck where he got shot. But apparently Juvie did on his cheek. I'm sure they'll go into that with the next person. I think the next person that comes up did Juvie's autopsy that had Juvie got shot in the left cheek.
You usually can't tell what shot or what injury occurred first, second, and third.
Correct.
In this case, you could on both.
What?
The individual you did the autopsy.
I can tell you the first shot. I don't know the order of the second and third.
Okay. And the first shot on both of them were the fatal shots.
Because they are already deceased when the other ones are.
Over 3 years later, you indicated you were asked to review the autopsy report of Doc Saunders, correct?
I was asked to review photographs that were taken at the hospital.
And you realized that there's a mistake that not only Dr. Saunders made, but obviously, with all due respect, you made.
So there is an exit gunshot wound on the inner thigh that I don't have any picture of at the autopsy.
Oh, I saw this in depositions. I've read this lady's deposition over the weekend. I read it all, but it wasn't anything worth a video in my opinion because it was pretty graphic. It's basically what she said now, but in writing. They missed an exit wound on a thigh of Sack Chaser or Juvie. I don't know which one, but they missed a wound, an exit wound. I think they thought it was an entrance wound, but it turned out to be an exit wound. Any defense lawyer in the world is going to pick this apart and try to make them look bad.
We have the right to amend the report.
Of course.
And that's exactly what
Over approximately 3 years later, was not the police department, but the state attorney's office. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And before you corrected that report, did you make any attempt to exhume the body to verify that injury?
I have a photograph of it. I don't have to exhume the body.
So the answer would be no.
That's correct.
Are you telling ladies and gentlemen that you can make a mistake, that you're human?
I'm human. She's human. We're all human.
So are there processes in place where you can review and go back and catch those mistakes?
There are.
Is that what happened in this case?
That's what happened.
In terms of exhuming a body 3 years later, would there be any benefit to doing that?
I have a photo document of the injury. I would never put a family through that.
Pretty good testimony for the prosecution to show how disturbing and gruesome of deaths that these guys went through. It's definitely going to sit in the back of a juror's mind for sure. So.
And the objection is it's duplicate?
Yes.
All right, the objection is overruled. It's not a gruesome photograph. It's
Melly's team tried to object to the stippling. That's not going to happen. Ain't no way. Team's zoned out today. A little sad, I'm going to be honest. I haven't really seen him smiling today. Obviously, it's not really an appropriate day to be doing that. 100th time testifying.
You see a fragment here, another projectile here, and if you move down, there's a minute fragment right there. This is a clean headshot of Mr. Christopher Thomas.
Okay. When you say clean, what does that mean?
This means that after we have documented opening the body bag, we take a series of photos that depict how the body is received. You're seeing a series of abrasions, which means scrapes to the upper and lower lips, right here.
In terms of the purpose of an autopsy, what are you trying to do?
We're trying to document the injuries we find on a body. This is a close-up image of the wound to the left cheek.
And the dark circle around it, what is that?
That's what we call an abrasion margin, and that abrasion margin has been dried, so it looks dark. You also see areas of little dots of abrasions right here, here, all over, and that's called stippling. Because I was informed...
Objection. Hearsay.
That's a quick objection. As soon as she said I was informed.
Defect to the left cheek.
And in terms of what is the wound path of wound A?
So it's going from left to right, front to back, and upwards.
Okay.
Stippling is all these little pinpoint abrasions you see around the wound, even up here, 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 here.
Do you have an opinion as to the distance or range that the firearm would have been?
I can give a range based on a textbook answer, because to get the specific range, you need the type of gun and the same type of ammunition that was used to cause this wound. The injuries start with fractures to the zygomatic bone, which is your cheekbone. It then injures and perforates the dura, which is the covering of the brain. It then caused a subarachnoid hemorrhage, and it caused lacerations to the cerebellum, which is in charge of your posture and coordination. It also caused injuries to the midbrain, to the pons, and the medulla. And those parts of your brain are in charge of your circulation, your heart beating, and your breathing.
Let's see if I can go back real quick. Okay.
And the medulla. And those parts of your brain are in charge of your circulation, your heart beating, and your breathing. So the entrance wound would be approximately right here on the cheek. D is the entrance wound to the medial lateral aspect, medial dorsal aspect of the left foot. G shows the entrance wound of the heart was not beating at the time that this wound was inflicted. You are looking at the liver with a rod to show that there are defects to the liver. That is a photograph depicting the heart, and the rods are showing 2 defects to the heart.
Were you able to correlate the wounds with the trajectory rods in the back of the seat?
Objection. Non-objection.
Trying to correlate the wounds and the trajectory rods, but the defense isn't going to let that happen. They're going to try to object to that.
That the decedent was slouched over slightly, and they would match to the defects on his back.
Adelstein just told me it wasn't disclosed. He had no knowledge of it.
No, this is all predates the arrest of the defendant. They have copies of all of these images and photographs.
The doctor's going to render an opinion on trajectory analysis, or how does...
She's not rendering an opinion on trajectory analysis. She's rendering an opinion on the defects in the body, that they are consistent with, and the material is consistent.
So Melly's team is objecting to this lady talking about any of the trajectory analysis right now, and the judge seems like he's siding with them so far.
That's not totally correct. Dr. McDougall took her out to the scene because this is one of 3 cases in her entire experience that she could determine which injury occurred first. We were put on notice approximately 3.5 to 4 years after this incident, after the autopsy, and after all of it.
So it's clear she is not testifying on trajectory. She is testifying on the defects to the body.
Well, she did kind of testify about the trajectory because she is comparing her results to the trajectory rods.
What does that have to do with the iron causing death?
Showing that...
Listen, man, I don't need any hands, all right? Purple shirt, I don't need anything, all right? You, yes, ma'am. I don't need you to make a hand gesture in there, all right?
Purple shirt is crazy, but okay.
You just yelled at the other lady on the state, purple shirt lady. You can just tell this judge is so over this prosecutor. He really is.
Objection to overruled. I'll let her testify.
I'm surprised he sided with the prosecutor there.
Are they consistent with the defects in the car?
Objection.
Overruled.
Yes.
Described were either intermediate or indeterminate.
Correct.
Do you know how many shooters were involved in this case?
No.
Do you know the weapon that was used in this case?
No.
You can't place the shooter or shooters when these injuries occurred, correct?
Correct.
Do you know if anyone examined those dreadlocks to determine if there was any stippling, gunpowder, or anything?
No.
Did you examine his clothes?
He came unclothed to our office.
Do you know if any detective or any crime scene investigator collected that evidence?
Not to my knowledge.
Trying to make her look like she's bad at her job.
The guns that were used, correct?
Correct.
You don't know if the clothing was collected and examined,
That's not part of my job.
okay? And you don't know if the hair or the dreadlocks were examined by anybody from either the Miramar Police Department or the Broward Sheriff's Office, correct?
That's correct.
Do you have any evidence to indicate this young man was involved in this?
Stay. This witness excused.
Hold on, Melly's lawyer tried to have a moment right there. Do you have any evidence of this young man? And then he got cut off. But yeah, that's pretty much it for day 9, I believe. Intense details about how gruesome everything was. It's really sad. I feel bad for the families. Rest in peace to these two guys. No matter what, they died. So, you know, this is some f***ed up shit. Yeah, if you're new to my channel, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I'll keep covering this. Peace out, boys.
Like I said, go ahead and subscribe to him, man. That was very gruesome to really sit through, but nothing really of substance came up to it. Oh snap!
The YNW Melly murder trial continues. We got a few hours.
I'm gonna wait for day 9 to pop off. Day 10 is the one I'm really waiting on to see if he has uploaded yet. No, not yet. All right. Let's go ahead and look at some more other situations going on. Let's talk about some Thomas A. Foolery. Let's go with this one here. So let's talk about the BET Awards happened this weekend, and I honestly enjoyed myself. I honestly, let's do it again. So the BET Awards happens this weekend, and honestly, I want to say that I kind of enjoyed myself. I'm gonna drink some water on this stream right now because I can. Might as well make this a video. So BET Awards happened Sunday, and honestly, I can say that I enjoyed myself. It was quite chaotic. No host. It felt like very random. A lot of craziness happened on stage, but there was something that happened that was not televised. But when I saw it, I kind of felt disappointed that it happened. But let's go ahead and look at what's going on here. So, Sexyy Red wasn't booked for the BET Awards, so she put on her own impromptu performance in the audience. The 2023 BET Awards was highlighted the number of rap new it girls from Doechii to Glorilla to Ice Spice and Latto, but there was one who missed the cutoff to receive recognition. That didn't stop her from creating her own opportunity, though. Sexyy Red, who blew up late last year with her raunchy singles Born by the River and Pound Town, don't get me started on this song, wasn't booked to perform at the BET Awards, so she gave her own impromptu performance of the latter in the crowd when it played over the PA. The fans in her section seemed pretty amped up to see her stand up and begin rapping along. Encourage her with calls of A. One woman even stood up with Red and started twerking on her. Check it out below. And Up Rocks really doesn't know who Chrisean Rock is, and that's hilarious. So here's the video. I'm not going to play the audio because I don't care. I don't want to hear that garbage. So here's Sexyy Red. And look who's in the doggone video. It's Dr. Bobby Jones. For those who don't know who Dr. Bobby Jones is, Dr. Bobby Jones is like one of the legends in gospel music. This is Dr. Bobby Jones right there. And having Dr. Bobby Jones right there, and just watch his face the entire time. If it pans on his face like it did, he was like, "What is this foolishness?" And you got people around him just hyping her up. And in a few seconds, you'll see Chrisean Rock coming in, and her stomach is out, and yes, she's pregnant. And so he's still going. They're playing Pound Town, so I don't want to hear that garbage about what color her private areas are. And here's Chrisean Rock, and she starts throwing it back on her. I'm like, what are we doing here? All right, that's enough of that. So the BET Awards were plenty eventful outside of the performances as well. While the focus of the evening was rightfully on the celebration of 50 years of hip-hop and a Lifetime Achievement Award for Busta Rhymes, there were enough extracurriculars to keep fans buzzing even after the show ended. JT and Lil Uzi Vert got into some kind of altercation leading to JT throwing her phone at Uzi. That's the problem. Meanwhile, Lotto was so psyched that winning the Best Female Hip Hop Award, she ran onto the stage with the missing shoe. That was actually hilarious. I ain't gonna hold you. Her walking up there without a shoe was quite hilarious. But oh my gosh, why is this a thing? We have strayed away from what hip hop should be, and the fact that you can make a song about the color of your private areas is absolutely outrageous. The song sucks. She's not that good. She ain't even that cute, so I don't know the appeal here. Maybe it's just because raunchy female rap is now, you can get away with doing the raunchiness and it sells. I mean, Hot Girl Summer, City Girls, all that other stuff. You got her. What's the home girl that I just talked about a few weeks ago, like last week on the stream? You got her. Super Bad. A lot. This is the wave that we have now gotten into, and there have been some horrible subgenres of hip hop that have come around. We still got to deal with the New York drill, Chicago drill, all of these forms of hip hop that are, in my honest opinion, not really something that I want to be celebrating as a hip hop head. So who knows? Let me know what y'all think about that one. All right, let's go ahead and move on. It's 11:28, and I don't even feel tired. That's the crazy part. Let's talk about Jonathan Majors. So, y'all remember when Jonathan Majors was arrested over the case of him basically assaulting his then girlfriend? And a lot of people were ready to basically dog him out and call him a monster and all these things. I made a video on TikTok last week, and crazy enough, the video led to a lot of people getting mad at me, all to the point where one black guy called me a coon, and back and forth with him until I blocked him, which evidently is not something a masculine man should do, but that's a whole different story. So let's go ahead and read about it. So new evidence, eyewitness in Jonathan Majors' assault case appears to tell a different story. So I've seen a few videos on TikTok about it, but let's go ahead and read about it. Just one day after the Marvel star Jonathan Majors appeared in court, the August 3rd trial date for his assault case, new evidence appears to suggest a different version of events than previously believed. Majors' lawyer, Priya C, has reportedly submitted eyewitness interviews, phone records, credit card statements, and hours of surveillance and body camera video that all prove her client's innocence, as told to Insider. Her hope is that the misdemeanor assault charges get dropped now. That is this evidence, but if not, she and Ant-Man star are prepared for trial. So evidence breakdown, eyewitness testimonies. According to his lawyer, evidence, there are multiple witnesses who can attest that Majors never assaulted his now ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, including the driver of the car that took Majors and Jabari from a Brooklyn bar the night of the alleged assault. He's ready to testify that he never saw or heard Majors raise a hand or voice at Jabari, and that as Majors tried to get away from her, she pulled and ripped his coat. A small group of women who recognized the Creed 3 star during the altercation hugged him and took a selfie with him in the midst of it. The bartender at Lucy's nightclub at the Moxie Hotel in Manhattan, who remembered Jabari's British accent and would testify that Jabari was having a great time and that he recalled no bleeding ear or bruised finger, as previously reported by The Root. Jabari, and who we now know to be the three of the people who witnessed the altercation between she and Majors that night, all went to Lucy's later that evening. In different security camera footage, she can be seen using her allegedly injured right hand to shuffle through her wallet for the credit card, handle her cell phone, and hold a menu, clink champagne glasses with her friends write a hand note to the DJ, give what appears to be a fist pump in the air to the dance floor, and finally sign a check. So she did all this with an allegedly injured hand. How convenient. The building handyman of their shared triplex penthouse, who accompanied Majors when he arrived hours later to help unlock a walk-in closet door where Jabari was allegedly found half naked and passed out on the floor. Also, an identified witness who was on the phone with Majors as he came back to his penthouse after spending the night at a hotel, found Jabari in his closet. Credit card statements per the lawyer evidence. Jabari charged rounds of shots and an $800 bottle of champagne to Major's car while at Lucy's after seeing a breakup text from the magazine Dreamstar. She allegedly charged a taxi ride back to the shared triplex penthouse, where she arrived at 3:23 a.m. according to surveillance footage. Insider also notes that after Major sent the text, he allegedly turned his phone off. In response to it, Jabari allegedly called Majors 32 times and sent several text messages accusing him of infidelity. Also, there's surveillance footage. According to the lawyer, footage from the street corner where Majors allegedly got out of the car during the altercation, footage from Lucy's nightclub footage from their shared penthouse elevator footage, all shows that Jabari was allegedly the aggressor who didn't show any signs of an injury to her hand or ear before heading back to their penthouse. She argued that Jabari instead took a fall while alone in Major's penthouse apartment after drinking and taking sleeping pills. So then there's police body cam footage. So Insider has more information about that footage here. NYPD body-worn camera video turned over to the lawyer by prosecutors shows a disoriented seeming Jabari telling cops and paramedics that she had drank to the point of throwing up in the bed and had taken several sleeping tablets. Oh my gosh. The defense lawyer said in the letter that Jabari had no idea why her finger was bruised and her ear was bloody. The lawyer said in the letter that instead of telling first responders, "I don't know," 19 times. She also asked what happened to my finger to one of the cops when she was alone with him. The lawyer told Insider, saying that the police body camera footage showed that Jabari looking down at her hand as if discovering the injury for the first time. The lawyer said in the letter that Jabari also told the officers that she started the fight in the car because she saw a text from another girl, wanted to see his phone, and tried to grab his phone. Y'all stop trying to grab these dudes' phones, please. If you have a hunch that he's cheating, just go with the hunch and just leave, because it's not worth it. But then cops kept asking her if he hit her, punched her. The lawyer told Insider. At one point, the body camera footage, the cop who would end up swearing out of the original assault complaint, can be seen on the video touching his own throat several times while questioning what Majors did, as if coaching her. The lawyer alleges in the letter, but the police videos do not show any visible injuries to Jabari's neck, the lawyer said. As alleged in an April 8th letter to Manhattan Criminal Court, Judge Rachel S. Pauley, the lawyer maintained that Jabari had no injuries to her right hand or ear as she previously claimed, and pointed out numerous occasions throughout the night after the alleged assault where Jabari frequently used her hand with no problem. The lawyer also said that she suspected that medical records showed no injuries to Jabari's neck, hence why the allegation that Majors put his hand on her neck, causing bruising and substantial pain, had removed in the complaint and strangulation charge had been dropped. As noted by Insider, the lawyer also maintained her earlier claim of racism on the part of the officers, citing body cam footage and their impressed faces and commentary on the triplex penthouse. The alleged coaching that one officer was allegedly seen on camera doing to Jabari to get her to say he strangled her, and alleged unwillingness to look into Major's claims that he was the one who was actually assaulted. As previously reported by The Root, the aftermath of these allegations, Majors was dropped by both his management and PR team, ad campaigns with the U.S. Army and MLB's Texas Rangers, as well as several upcoming movies, including an Otis Redding biopic and the adaptation of Walter Mosley's novel, The Man in My Basement. Perhaps most notably, he has not been dropped by the Marvel Studios and there has been no word yet on whether he'll be replaced as newest supervillain Kang of the Conqueror. He also reportedly faces more allegations from multiple women, according to Variety. Major's uncertain career status, the lawyer said. He's heartbroken. He's watching his career dangle in the wind. He wants to go to trial yesterday. And the full report I'm not about to read on Insider.com. So let me go ahead and figure something out here, because it's very interesting how it's so much about this situation. But what's that dude's name? Hold on, let me make sure I have it. His or their. I don't know anymore. Let me pull this up, because it's hilarious how, yeah, no, I'm not the type of person to come up here with all these allegations and whatnot. But when I see something that's a little fishy, it's kind of interesting how somebody like Ezra Miller, who has had multiple allegations about him, whether it was allegations of him being a groomer, allegations of assault. So let's pull up these. Oh, Rolling Stone has one that was published on June this year. So Ezra Miller's Reign of Terror, a timeline. I just realized y'all didn't hear a doggone thing I said. So I'm about to read. No, I'm not. So just to give y'all just what I just said there, because I just realized I took myself out of the thing. Ezra Miller is a non-binary individual, so in this case, they're using they them pronouns to describe them. And in this case, this first one, they were basically being very irate because this woman told them that they couldn't smoke in the house. And so after being told, asked 20 times to leave, they didn't leave. They insulted her, calling her a transphobe and the N-word, not the black N-word, but the Dolph N-word. So moving on to March 2022, reports emerged that Miller was staying in Hawaii, terrorizing the community of Hilo with a string of arrests for disorderly conduct and harassment. Officials said that Miller was the subject of at least 10 police phone calls that month over minor disturbances, such as filming people at gas stations, refusing to move from outside a restaurant, and arguing with strangers. What? One of the major incidents occurred at a local karaoke bar on March 29th, where Miller allegedly started yelling obscenities and became agitated when a couple began singing Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper's Shallow at a karaoke bar. Miller was accused of snatching the microphone away from the woman mid-song and later lunging at a man playing darts, according to police, and was charged with disorderly conduct and harassment. And where has the blacklisting gone? Let's see if I can get some more information here. Later that same night, police were called to remove. Imagine, like, we just got this individual. What are they doing? Later that same night, police were called to remove Miller from the property the actor was staying at over another disturbance, according to an application for a temporary restraining order, which was later granted. Miller had burst into a couple's bedroom. Bro, what? Threatened him, saying, "I will bury you and your wife." That is a whole threat of somebody's life. And if this individual would have lost their life, could you have been mad? Miller also allegedly stole the woman's passport and the man's wallet containing credit cards. So they were a menace. Okay, they were a menace. Moving to April 2022. Golly, we're still in 2022. Warner Bros. And DC executive held an emergency meeting over Miller and the future of The Flash. In light of their arrest, Rolling Stone reported at the time the decision was to halt any future projects with Miller, meaning no surprise cameos in other DC Extended Universe films for the time being. A well-placed source told Rolling Stone that Miller had frequent meltdowns while filming The Flash, explaining Ezra would get a thought in their head and say, "I don't know what I'm doing." Same month, 13 days later, once again, Miller was arrested in Hawaii, this time charged with second-degree assault for allegedly throwing a chair at a 26-year-old woman, leaving her with half-inch gash in her forehead, according to the Hawaii Police Department. This is already worse than what allegedly happened between Jonathan Majors. This person, this non-binary individual threw a whole chair at a 26-year-old woman. Again, a chair could do some severe damage. Moving on, still in April of the same year, a TikTok began circulating from a person by the name of Mia Solange, who uses they, them pronouns. Solange indicated they were in a romantic relationship with Miller, posting a series of photos of the pair, believed to have been taken in 2019. "You took everything from me," they captioned in the video, so I don't know who said that. "Ezra Miller is not a good human. I can finally say so without being terrified." #abuser. As the video climbed more than 3 million views, Solange suddenly deleted the video and made their social media accounts private. Moving on into the next month, May 2022, music producer Oliver Ignatius and the rapper Gase Guevara claimed to Rolling Stone that Miller stole the music they had worked on together, posting it on SoundCloud with no credit to either artist. Ignatius, who lives in Vermont, had been a longtime friend of Miller's, said the actor's actions were extremely unethical and hurtful. "The person I thought I knew was much gentler than the person that we're seeing right now," Ignatius said. "It's been a very long, concerning journey." Early June 2022, the concerned parents of Gibson Iron Eyes, a notable standing rock activist, accused Miller of grooming and controlling the then 18-year-old. Miller had met Gibson, so this is the allegations of grooming here. Miller had met Gibson, who uses they, them pronouns, and also goes by the name Dakota, which the activist was 12, maintaining a close relationship. Interesting. However, Gibson's parents, Chase Iron Eyes and Sarah Jumping Eagle. Bro, am I reading this right? The parents' name of Gibson ain't no dog. We live in a society. So the names of the parents is Chase Iron Eyes and Sarah Jumping Eagle. Claimed in an application for a protective order on behalf of their child that Miller had lured the teen away from their family. Ezra uses violence, intimidation, threats of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over young adolescent Dakota, according to court records. According to the concerns, Gibson's parents claim Miller had convinced the teens to drop out of board college in December 2021 and and come and travel and live with them and take control of Gibson's personal belongings, including their cell phone, ID, and passport. And in January 2022, had given Gibson a dose of LCD that led to the teen having a bad trip and being hospitalized for his mental health concerns. Gibson is not only having mental health issues, but there is a predator taking advantage of them at the same time, Jumping Eagle told Rolling Stone. They're basically in a mini art Robert Sylvester situation, and it really reminds me of that, how they're isolating people, distancing them from their families and friends. Honestly, I see that. This really is giving, allegedly, the situation is giving Robert Sylvester vibes right now, and it's really sick to read it. However, Gibson denied they were a victim, blasted the parents' claims and concerns, saying Miller only provided loving support and invaluable protection during a troubling time in their life. I am now aware of the severity of emotional and psychological manipulation I was made to endure while in my parents' home. This screams Stockholm Syndrome, especially after a horrible trip off LSD. That is concerning. Same year. Oh my gosh. All this was in with like a 2-3 month period. A mother and her then 11-year-old non-binary child came forward to the Daily Beast after they were granted temporary restraining order against Miller in Massachusetts over claims that Miller had acted inappropriately towards the child in February of that year. There is a pattern here. The mother claimed Miller had menaced the family while visiting with a neighbor, claiming Miller flashed a pew-pew and screamed at her. It was really uncomfortable. The child told the outlet, "I was really nervous. I was scared to be around them after they yelled. My mother was, and she was crying." Miller had allegedly taken an intense child, saying that the child was elevated, being a lot of power to them, and the child would be lucky to have Miller guide them. At later dates, the mother claimed Miller had made the child uncomfortably by tightly hugging them and offering to buy horses the child could look after their Vermont farm. This is not helping a lot of cases against a group of people who were fighting a honestly not fair generalization. But when there's somebody that is this high up, this needs to be addressed. It really does. It's still so much more in this year. This is August of the same year. Miller finally issued a statement amid the arrest of the barrage of accusations, apologizing for their behavior. Having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I now understand that I'm suffering complex mental health issues and to begin ongoing treatment. Miller said, "I want to apologize to everyone I have alarmed and upset with my past behavior. I'm committed to doing the necessary work to get back to a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life." Let's see if he... Well, into the next year, Miller pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of unlawful trespass stemming from their Vermont burglary arrest. As part of the deal that dropped the burglary and larceny charges, Miller agreed to pay a $500 fine, serve 1 year of probation, undergo random drug testing, and continue their mental health treatment. In a statement released through their lawyer, Miller thanked the local community for their trust and patience throughout the process. In February 2023, the marketing flash release begins its rollout, starting with the trailer premiering during the Super Bowl with the first look at Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton reprising their roles as Batman. Interesting. And I think this is the last one. This is the most recent thing that Rolling Stone has updated on the situation with them. A month away from the premiere, the Flash director Andy Muschietti and other higher-ups connected with the film and praised Miller's performance, with one saying they believe audience will forget about the star's many controversies after seeing them. How convenient! How convenient that they would say that. During the interview with the Discourse podcast, Muschietti said he had no plans to recast Miller for the other future Flash project, saying, "I don't think there's anyone that can play the character as well as they did. The other depictions of the character are great, but this particular vision of the character, they just excelled in doing it. Feels like a character that was made for them. Producer Barbara Muschetti told Entertainment Weekly that even amid the height of Miller's troubles, shelving The Flash was never an option, saying, "Not at all, no, that was never real." So even with everything that they were doing within that last year of time, there was never an idea maybe that we need to drop them because of everything that's going on. What is wrong with me? It's funny how they were so quick to, a lot of people were so quick to drop Jonathan Majors off of allegations. Just one allegation that really popped off, and now is looking like that allegation is going to be deemed false based off all the evidence that has been provided to the public. It's I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and do your own deductive reasoning on that. I'm not coming up here. 1 hour and 9 minutes. Oh my gosh, I talk too doggone much. Shout out to everybody watching me right now. I ain't saying nothing, but I see y'all. I see y'all views. I appreciate it. Should I get to this? I got one more. I'm really contemplating if I really want to read about it. Let me see. Because I feel like I'm going to roll my eyes more. How much of this is okay? This is not a long read, so I'll go ahead and do it. It's not a long read at all. I'm kind of hot. All right, so I've done quite a bit of talking about Jada Pinkett Smith up here, and how I don't necessarily care for her, and I really do feel like she's not that great of a person. But that's just me and my thoughts. But let's see if this makes me change my mind on that at all. So here we go. Jada Pinkett Smith took her son Jaden Smith on the trip of a lifetime, but not in the way you expect. The Sire singer recently shared that it was his mom who paved the way for psychedelic drug use, in his family, which also includes his dad Will Smith and his sister Willow Smith. I think it was my mom actually that was really the first one to make that step for the family, Jaden said at the Psychedelic Science Conference in Denver, June 23rd, per USA Today. It was just for her a really, really long time, and then eventually it just trickled and evolved. Everyone found it in their own ways. In fact, Jada believes psychedelics had helped him build a stronger bond with Willow, 22, and half brother Trey Smith, who was 30. Will's son from his past marriage to Cherise Zampino. Jada Pinkett Smith throughout the years, siblings can argue so much and fight so much, and Lord knows me and my siblings have done that in the past. Jaden explains, but the level of love and empathy that I feel for them inside the psychedelic experience and outside of the experience has been something that's profound and beautiful. Jaden previously shared that she began using psychedelics, particularly plant medicine, 10 years ago as a way to better her mental health. On a episode of Red Table Talk series, the girl's trip star recalled how the psychedelics knocked her out of crippling depression. I struggled with depression for so long. Crippling depression. And she said, and the thing about the plant medicine, it helps you feel better, but also solves the problem of how you go there in the first place. What? I don't even know how to react to that. How am I supposed to react to that? I think that's my cue to end. I'm gonna get up out of here because ain't no doggone way, bro. Highly weird. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace, love, Pop Tarts. Always remember, There's only one thing to do. Drink your water. I'm out of here.